Texas Tech Football Media Day. I'm Casey Cowan with Red Raider wide receiver Reginald Davis. And Reginald, you had a few opportunities last year, and it seems like you made good of them. You've been a popular name this offseason after some highlights that certainly have stood the test of time since the season ended in San Diego. Moving away from your freshman year, what was a focused area of improvement for you? What did you want to really focus on? What did the coaches want you to focus on this offseason?
Route running. I say route running and being able to track the ball down, even if it's a bad ball. They just wanted me to compete more and just have the attitude to be hungry for everything.
What's it been like this offseason without two guys that I'm sure were big-time leaders for you, Eric Ward and Jason Morrow? Who's kind of stepped up into some of those leadership roles?
I say Bradley Marquez, Jakeem. I've stepped up a lot. Like, I just noticed that I had to take it in my hand to get better on my own. Like, I got to be my own criticism, so, I mean, it just makes me work harder.
Do you feel like that's something that helped you during your freshman year, kind of being a self-starter, being self-motivated?
Yeah, it helped a lot because I knew what I had, and I didn't care what nobody else had to say.
You're a guy that comes from a small school division and someone obviously that folks will look at and say, well, he might have some things to overcome more so than maybe a big school. How do you approach that transition, and what was it like based off of maybe your expectation coming into it?
I really don't care what people say. I mean, I was 1A, but now I'm D1, so I mean, I'm just like everybody else.
We're going to visit with wide receiver coach Eric Morris coming up, and he was also a guy that came from a smaller school in Shallowater just down the road, had success here at Texas Tech. Have you connected with him in regards to that at all? Has he been able to help you to kind of get through that transition?
Yeah, he's one of the main guys that talks to me a lot, works for my footwork, route running. So he's a coach to me and a best friend to me also.
What's it been like for you preparing for your sophomore year? Because now, as we mentioned, obviously with the Morrow and Ward gone, you mentioned being one of those guys that steps into a leadership role. How is the day-to-day kind of work you put in different now compared to where you were a year ago at this time?
I mean, I do more reps. I go with the ones and the twos. I teach the second people behind me, like try to make them get better. So I mean, it just made me step up a lot.
As far as some of those guys behind you, some of the new faces we'll see in 2014, who's standing out to you amongst some of those wide receivers who are going to have a bigger opportunity this year?
I say Dylan Cantrell. He works hard, puts in a lot of work, and he does everything full speed, so I say him.
We have talked a lot about the quarterbacks, obviously, last year and throughout this offseason. Different field now, I'm sure, for Cliff Kingsbury and the team overall, knowing who the guy is going to be. But how about for the guys who have to have a good relationship with that quarterback, the pass targets? I mean, how is it different for you knowing now who the quarterback's going to be? Has that helped in developing chemistry and a relationship with Davis?
Yeah, that helps a lot because, I mean, if we got that relationship for trust, then, I mean, he can trust me to catch it. I can trust him to throw me the ball. So, I mean, that helps a lot. So, I mean, that's the great thing about it.
How do you think Davis is different entering 2014? What do you notice that's different from a year ago?
Leadership. He has stepped up a lot, and he talked to us about everything, the bad, the good. He lets us know how deep to take stuff, so it'll time out right, so he stepped up a lot.
Did you feel like last year, I've heard this from some of the guys at Big 12 Media Days, the word driven. What was Davis continuing to compete the right way during that competition last year, something that earned him some respect in the locker room?
I mean, he never put his head down. Like when he went from starting, not starting, he never put his head down. He always kept it high, and he did what he did. He never did down anybody. He just worked hard, and in the end, it paid off.
Seems like the Big 12 is really kind of wide open on paper. There are two teams that they say in Oklahoma and Baylor that are the preseason favorites, but even they have some questions left to answer. Has, you know, kind of the lay of the land in the conference led to a lot of excitement for you guys this offseason, knowing that really anything you want's there for the taking?
That's how it always been. We know that if we play hard and execute what we do, that we can go and take it, and that's just how I'm going to keep the mindset. I don't care about any team. I'm just worried about the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
August 30th against Central Arkansas. Will be here before we know it. Texas Tech wide receiver Reginald Davis with us from Texas Tech Media Day. I'm Casey Cowan for Double T1043 and DoubleT1043.com.